Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. My special guest today, William Eick, Chef William Eick of Matsu in Oceanside, down in San Diego, near San Diego. Welcome back, Chef.
Thank you.
So I think you answered this question. Why Japan? I think you answered that in the first segment, but just to know what drew you to the culture and to the food? Besides, was it your first restaurant, or was there more to that? What drew you in?
And definitely at the young age, food, and culture, being a car guy, cars, anime, all that stuff, growing up around all that. Uh, and then when I went there for the first time, it was the people, the cleanliness of the streets, the organization, the attention to detail, the politeness of everybody, the sense of genuine hospitality, that omotenashi, uh, that word for it in Japanese. All of it kind of just came together, and it was like, this speaks to who I am. And
Okay, so you're talking about the first time you visited Japan now.
yeah, yeah, it
So
all made sense.
yeah, so tell me about that. Why did you decide finally to visit Japan? Was it like a culinary tour for yourself? Was it just to get immersed in the culture that you have grown to love? Tell me about, that trip.
The first time my wife and I went, it was shortly after my second daughter was born, and we always knew we wanted to go there and like be tourists and just like have fun and explore the city. And I loved Japanese food at that point too. So I was like, well, let's just go and have fun. No kids. My mom's gonna watch the kids. We're going on vacation. Uh, we can do so, little mom and dad bonding trip. And literally as the plane landed, slid open the window, looked outside. I'm like, it feels like I'm home right now. This is the weirdest feeling I've
Wow.
ever had with my wife. And she's like, no, the look on your face is different. And I'm just like, yeah. And then getting on the subway, and I don't think I talked to her for like 3 hours. I was just like, I'm just studying everything. It was just crazy. And she's like, you're being kind of weird. I'm like, I know. Leave me alone.
You're
I'm
home. You're
watching,
home. I love.
watching. And that moment was just like, this is, I need to study this more. I need to understand it more. I need to understand why I'm having this feeling. I think Anthony Bourdain even had said at one point in one of his shows, Japan is where chefs go to die, realistically. And it sounds a lot harsher than it really is. It's just like you
Mhm.
go there and it's like the product is pristine. The techniques are pristine. Doesn't matter if you're having Italian food, French food, Japanese food. Everything is just so delicious. And the people are genuine. And even like when they're grumpy at you because you're a tourist, they're just like, you're trying to go that way. Here, let me help you go that way. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, you're being polite, but you want me to go away to the same time. Not
That's
that
the
bad.
most polite blow off I've ever had.
Yeah, yeah. And it's eye-opening. So it was just like this deep connection, and that's kind of where it all really started to make sense.
Did your wife have that feeling too? Did you guys compare notes? Did she have the same impact, or was it was it a solo thing that you were feeling, just that I'm home, that I
Mine was definitely stronger than hers. As we have continued to go, we go about once a year for about almost 2 weeks each time. Um, as we got into more, it's the Yamanashi prefectures where the wine grows. It's about between Tokyo and Nagano prefecture on the backside of Mount Fuji. Uh, she really loves forests and nature and stuff like that. So as we started to explore that side of Tokyo, she's like, yeah, I could do this. We could live here someday. That sounds really good. Uh, the big city stuff, she's like, I don't know. I don't know. She wouldn't mind it, but she definitely wouldn't be the happiest ever. Uh, Once we got into that more like rural areas, for sure, she was like, all right, this sounds good. We could do this. I'm just like, I don't care where I'm at. My level is much higher than hers.
did you take I imagine you had a list of restaurants that you had to visit or places that you had to visit. What was on that list?
Oh,
Or did you just
can you,
stumble in and
um,
discover?
the first time we went, I really made a point of, I don't want to go to any fine dining restaurant. I don't want to explore the ones that I've been studying and watching from abroad. I want to just walk through the city and say, there's a line of Japanese people at that one. It must be good. That's where we need to try. We're gonna
Hmm,
have to wait in
that's a
line. But that was the target for the first trip. The second trip,
why was that? Why did you say I'm not going to all these places that I've heard about, I've wanted to go to? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna let the street steer me almost. The smells, the people. Why did you go that way? What was the thinking behind that?
it was definitely a study of a little deeper into the culture and say, okay, what do they like to eat? Where are they eating the most? How do I understand when I'm gonna go cook Japanese food? What is something that a Japanese person would eat on the daily, weekly basis, as far as a restaurant? What are they craving?
What did you learn?
Uh,
What is that? I mean, do you bring that to Matsu?
we do, to a certain extent. Definitely when I was developing Matsu, it was a little bit more apparent then than it is now. And more just because we've continued to refine what Matsu is. Uh, some of that was like Ichiran Ramen is a big chain, and we definitely tried that one because there was a big line there. It was like, is this really good as a chain ramen? Is this really good? And you go and you're just like, this is the best ramen I've ever had in my life. It's an
Mhm.
8 bowl of ramen. Okay, I understand. And there's families with kids and there's solo people and the lines down the street and out the door. And you're like, if it's good there, it will probably be good anywhere. And there's a reason why it's so busy. It's not just because it's popular or it's trending on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. It actually is worth going there. Doesn't matter the price point. Once we kind of understood that, it was just learning the flavor profiles. Uh, from the Japanese side, I swear the Italian food in Tokyo is better than Italy. And mostly because they go there and they study in Italy and they come back and then they have pristine ingredients.
I've heard that before. You're the second person
That
I've heard
was
that
good,
from.
you know. Uh, but it's that attention to detail was kind of the thing that I really took away. It was like it didn't matter what it was. If the line was out the door, it was good and they were doing it right.
I like
Uh,
that idea. I like that. I like how you approach that restaurants and eating out and experiencing the culture. It's a good way to do that because I think a lot of people do take the tour guidebooks and the lists from pop culture and whatever they've heard or experienced from afar, and they go and explore those places. But I like your method. That's a good. I'm going to borrow that. Do you speak Japanese and write Japanese, or
I'm definitely very slow at the writing.
yeah? I just noticed your signature in your email was
Yeah,
you had it
I
in Japanese.
I say I understand a little bit. I definitely can understand and hear more than I can speak, and it's more just like a lot of times because I'm nervous to speak it, say it wrong.
Mhm.
Um, I would say probably as much as like a first grader. Realistically, I'm still in the process of learning it. Uh, but it's something I work on a couple hours a week.
What are some of the Japanese techniques that you practice at Matsu?
We do preservation techniques more in the Japanese style. Like this time of year, hoshigaki is a big thing. It's a high chia persimmon that you peel, let it dry for a couple days, and then you massage it every day for a month to express the sugars. Then you get this really beautiful dried fruit. Uh, we do that every single year. There's the last round is just finishing up, hanging up above the bar in the restaurant right now. So guests can walk in and they'll see all these little persimmons hanging out. We do a lot of that. Uh, Simmering is something else that we do. Uh, how we make all of our broths and everything, we do it in the style of dashi. So it only hits certain temperatures. Um, Lots of grilling, lots of charcoal grilling. Uh, we're not really sauteing things. We have a couple tempura. aspects to dishes, and then we have our tempura dish as a whole as well on the tasting menu, stuff like that. It's very simple techniques that a lot of people could do at home. We're not doing these crazy, you gotta brine it and then pickle it and then sous vide it. Like there's not a lot of that going on. It's very basic. It's very just like respectful to the ingredient.
Mhm.
Um,
I was going to ask that, and it sounds like that's the answer, that respectful to the ingredients, but the process, what is different about the Japanese process than maybe um, another restaurants, the way food is cared for or prepared, and your process that you really like, things that you borrowed from Japanese culture and
yeah.
process.
The easiest way to describe it is we're not overly complicating anything. If a carrot is perfect as it is, we're not going to spend 2 days trying to turn it into this crazy thing. We're just going to like simply cook the carrot and just put it on the plate. And there's other ways that we do to enhance that. Like we'll get carrot juice and we'll like reduce it down and like do a couple other things to really kind of bring more depth into the dish. But if a carrot's perfect as it is out of the ground and we were able to get it that day, there's no way that carrot's getting any better than that without just like a little bit of salt and acid. You just leave it be. Certain fish are better sliced raw than they are cooked. So you just simply slice it raw and put it on the plate.
Yeah, it's simple, good. Start with good ingredients and enhance that and let that be savored and appreciated. I agree with you on that. Uh, what's something that you and your staff do at Matsu that would blow your mind, your guests' minds if they knew, like something that you do that's just it's incredible that, I mean, a perfect example is what you just said with the carrot, taking the juice or the carrot juice and then enhancing that. But what is there something that you guys do that I would be so shocked to know that you go through that process?
Our signature dish. It is probably the most complicated dish on the menu by a long shot. But it's almost two ingredients and that's it. It is Ika, which can be either cuttlefish or squid, depending on the season. Right now we're using cuttlefish, and a sunflower. And we explore every single piece of every single component of the sunflower and the squid. Uh, and very simply, it just looks like you're getting a hand roll or a taco when it comes to the table. But you have on the inside of this wrapper, there's the heart of the sunflower that gets simmered. And then we cover that with this ryu, which is like a chili garlic, chili oil type thing. Sunflower seeds that have been confit in sunflower seed oil, sunflower petals, and then the fried cuttlefish tentacles are all inside. The sheet that everything gets wrapped in is made from the pureed crowns that are then steamed of the cuttlefish. So it softens all that. Like calamari can be chewy. So we puree it to soften all that and break down the fibers, spread it out onto a sheet, and then steam it. So you lose all of that chewy texture, but retain that nice, clean, pure squid or cuttlefish flavor. And the cuttlefish are just slightly sweeter naturally. Like it's not gonna be like sugar, but just that kind of like natural, like a beet is kind of sweeter than a squid. Then we take the leaves of the sunflower and we dehydrate those to have this really nice green powder, so it looks like seaweed for a sushi wrapper. And we dust that on the outside of the sheet. So you have this like little green thing and you just pick it up and eat it like this hand roll, but you have 4 different parts of a sunflower. You have 3 different parts of a squid because there's dried squid inside of the chili garlic oil. And it's just like crazy intense flavors. But it looks like just this little wrap on a plate.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. How long does it take you to prep that dish?
That dish is about 2 to 3 hours.
No, I
No.
got to get down there and try it. My special guest today, Chef William Eick, executive chef and owner of Matsu. down in Oceanside. Follow him on Instagram at Chef William Eick. It's EICK, and also at Eat Matsu. Subscribe to know and learn about all the be first in line to hear about all the events, new menus, and upcoming collaborations at eatatmatsu.com. And go try it for yourself. Voted best Japanese restaurant by San Diego Magazine in 2022 and 2023. Chef William Eick, my special guest. We'll be right back after this break.